Hi, I am Sam, your teacher, Sam, my teacher, Sammy teacher. In the last video, I talked about the power of powering a number. In this video, I want to tell you a story that has something to do with that topic. Long time ago, there was a certain kingdom in Asia, and the king of the kingdom was mean and greedy. The king did not care much about the people. However, he cared so much about his own daughter, the princess, but she's been sick for years and was about to lose her life. The king did everything he could do in his power, but she wasn't getting any better. So the king declared to the whole kingdom that he will grant any request of anyone as long as the person cures the princess. So many people came and tried, but they all failed. And finally, an old farmer came and said he's gonna give a try. He put together several herbs that he brought with him, and he made a special herbal medicine. When he gave it to the princess, guess what? She was completely healed. And since the king promised to grant any wish, he asked the old farmer, "What is your request?" And the old man gave the king an interesting request. He showed the king a chessboard and said, "I want you to give me 1 grain of rice in the first block of this chessboard, and 2 grains in the next block, and 4 grains of rice in the third block, and double of that number for the next block, and double that number next, which will be 16 grains, and double that number in the previous block, and so on. Do the same thing for the following blocks, all the way to the last block of the chessboard. And if there are too many grains to put on the board, put them in bags and give them to me." And the king responded, "What? That's it? Is that really all you want?" And the old man said, "Yes, that's it. But what if you don't keep your promise? What if you decide not to give me what I requested for?" And the king said, "Then the kingdom is yours." The king was obviously confident that he could give what the farmer was asking for. And the story ends with the old farmer becoming the new king. What happened? Why was the king unable to grant the request of the old farmer? Here comes the reason. The old farmer wanted only 1 grain for the first block and 2 grains for the next block, and the numbers will continue like this because you double the previous number each time. And if I rewrite these numbers in exponent with exponent using base 2, the first block can be written as 2 to the 0 power because 0 power of anything becomes 1. The pattern will go on like this because whenever you multiply 1 each time, the exponents will increase by 1 every time. And since you have 8 rows and 8 columns in a chessboard, there are 64 blocks in a chessboard altogether. And since I started with 0 exponent instead of 1, when you go all the way to the end, guess how many grains of rice you have to put on the last block alone. The number will be 2 to the power of 63. Now this number alone is this big. Can't even count it. But you not only have this many of grains, but you also have to add this block, which is 2 to the power of 62. And that's great too. And although it's getting smaller and smaller, you have to add all these numbers too. all the way to the end, right? So the total number of grains of rice can be found like this. 1 grain plus 2 grains plus 4, 16. Oops, let me correct that. It'll be 2 cubes, so it'll be 8, and skip whatever it's in the middle, and all the way to 2 to the 60 power, 61 power, 62nd power, and for the last block, 2 to the 63rd power. And if I actually add all of them, this is what the result looks like. I can't even read this number because it's too big. But if I try to give you a better understanding of how big this number is, imagine filling this Olympic swimming pool with this number of grains. Do you think this number of grains of rice can fill this swimming pool? Well, I did some research and calculation, and it requires roughly 72 billions of grains of rice to fill this Olympic swimming pool. And this number right here is much, much greater than 72 billions. So if you divide this number by this number, it gives you roughly 250 millions. That means you have to fill this huge swimming pool 250 million times. And no wonder the king could not grant the request of the old farmer. And the old farmer eventually becomes the new king of the kingdom. And that's the end of the story, and also the end of this video. I hope it helped you understand the power of powers, or the power of an exponent. And if you're interested, you can also watch the other video dealing with exponential numbers and the sun and the earth and the moon and stuff. Thank you for watching my contents, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.